Hey friends, welcome back. This is Ashley with Uncommon Roots Homestead. Today I am over at the farm. I am in our new build and I just wanted to take some time and walk around this space and appreciate what it is to me today. So let's do it. So last night we had a first for us here on our farm. We haven't had much death here on the farm. It's something that I know is inevitable when you have a farm. Of course, there's going to be some level of death. And yesterday that became our reality. When Kevin got here this morning, there were feathers everywhere and we are missing about 4 to 5 chickens. And we knew that predators were going to be an issue here. We actually were surprised that we didn't have any predator pressure sooner. It's actually one of the reasons that we first got Fury was to train him to be with our poultry. And we thought that that would be a quicker process, but he is just not ready. And as an animal, and as animal parents, it is our responsibility to make sure that he's ready before we put him into a situation where he could potentially hurt the chickens. So unfortunately, you can see the feathers throughout the yard. Something got in. We're not sure when. We don't know if it was a bird or a ground animal. Kevin did survey the fence and it looks like nothing came in from the fence, but it's hard to tell. There are a lot of hawks, there are a lot of vultures. It's possible that a raccoon got in. It's possible that the door didn't shut. We have an automatic door, so if that door didn't shut, it's possible that something came in the middle of the night. We weren't here yesterday evening, so it's just hard for us to know exactly what happened. But at this point, there's not a lot we can do. We just need to keep an eye out, and if we keep losing them, then we know we have a problem that we need to either put a camera out here to watch for. We might actually put a camera down here anyways and try to catch whatever did that, but it's a bummer. Death on the farm is hard. It's hard for a lot of reasons, but one of maybe the biggest reasons is that it's inevitable. We know that there's going to be death. We know when we have dominion over 50 animals that the odds are it's not always going to be perfect and that there's going to be death. But it's really hard when you don't know why and you feel like you've kind of failed your animals, when you feel like it's your responsibility to keep them safe and provide a safe space for them, and then something happens that you didn't have control over. That's really hard. But everything that happens here on our farm, we try to learn from. So we are going to do everything we can to try to determine what type of predator it was. Once we do that, we can start to figure out, like, what do we need to do differently? Is there a part of our setup that we need to change? And I just smelled a skunk. So, like, it could be a skunk. It's so hard trying to find that, like, symbiotic relationship between wildlife and captivity on the farm, because we want the wildlife to be here. We know that with each predator or pest comes something that will control it. And we know that like when you're trying to have an organic farm, that allowing that natural harmony to occur is everything. But sometimes it's hard because you want to take care of the problem right away. If you know, I don't know, you just want to take care of it. You want to get rid of it. And that's not really how organic farming or organic gardening works. All of these things work together for this circle of life. And so it's our responsibility to try to captivate that and try to contain what can be contained and try to set parameters. You know, that's why we have livestock guardian dogs who can protect our animals, and we have fencing, and you know, it's not like we're just throwing animals out there and saying like, if you live, you live. That's not what we're doing at all, but we are trying to have as little impact on this space as possible, understanding that we are going to live here and we are going to farm here. And that's not entirely perfect, right? Like there's going to be like this is not natural. So there are going to be some predators that would be attracted to this animal that aren't natural either. And so we're trying to just find that balance here on our farm. And this guy plays a big role. Don't you, Fury? Nope. Don't climb. Don't climb. Hi, big boy. Good boy. Kevin actually was over here today working on the fencing because we're adding a couple strands of barbed wire to this front panel in the cow pasture. Eventually we do want to rotate our cattle, but for now we are building, obviously, and so we don't want to move the animals anywhere closer to that. The other pasture is actually up on the other side of the house over there. So we are trying to do as little as possible to get in the way while also keeping the animals happy. So right now we are not rotating the pasture. And we are getting a bull. So we have a bull joining the farm. We actually want to make a video and talk about how we chose to bring a bull on the farm and tell you a little bit more about that process. But it's time to breed Jeannie back. So we are bringing a bull in. So Kevin is just reinforcing this front fence just to make sure that we don't have a bull on the loose. And then he's coming this weekend. So lots of exciting things still happening. Right now, I need to go try to catch Daisy. And she's in a good place, so let me do that now. Okay, so that was not that hard. Getting Daisy in here wasn't that bad, but I don't know if you caught it on this small glimpse that you had here, but Jeannie and Fury actually got into it. I had put some food out for Jeannie, and Fury wanted it, and he started just like going at her, which that's the first time I've seen that. We feed them separate. So there's not usually food out when they're both in there. Usually we lock Fury on the outside of the fence while I'm milking, just so there's not like an extra body, and sometimes he's an antagonizer. So that's the first time I've had to deal with that. I know enough about being around livestock guardian dogs and cattle to know that they're way bigger than I am. So my role in that is yelling and trying to get them away from each other, not actually inserting myself in the middle of that. So many people get really injured putting themselves in between cattle and dogs or really any animals. And so our philosophy here on our farm is they're going to hash it out. They're animals, they're going to figure it out. I'm gonna do everything I can, make a lot of noise, try to distract the dog, get him away from her, but I never would put myself in between Jeannie and Fury because I would be the one who got hurt. They wouldn't intend to hurt me, but I would be the one who would get hurt. So anyways, dealt with that. Not as peaceful spending time here in the cow pasture as I wanted it to be. I'm really glad that happened today and not when we have the bull here. Adding a bull is going to change the dynamics. Kevin and I are still trying to figure out what that is going to mean. We don't know this bull. He's supposed to have a great temperament, so I'm hoping it doesn't really change up our routine too much, but we will be as safe as possible making that transition and figuring out how I'm going to get in here to separate Daisy, how I'm going to milk, whether or not we're going to separate the dog, kind of all of those different pieces, because the last thing I would want is a situation like the one that I was just in, and also having a bull who's, you know, a third heavier than Jeannie, and also a little bit more aggressive and with more likely to really try to take Fury out. So glad it was today and not next week. Let's go say hi to the pigs. Hi guys. You already ate. Don't try to fool me. I hear you. Phew. Stressful day down in the cow yard, but it's been working really great separating Daisy at night. We're doing it 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we are milking, which has been really good. That gets me just under, it's like 2.5 gallons a week, which is perfect for our family, that we don't go through more than a gallon of milk like drinking. And so then that gives us a gallon for mozzarella or yogurt or, you know, things like that, which is perfect for us right now because I don't have a ton of time to be making all of the things. So it's better for us to have a manageable amount. If we had a cow that was giving us 6 gallons at a time, what on earth would I do with all of that? I don't have that kind of time. How nice is it going to be when I just walk inside? It's going to be really nice. But first, I want to go up to the garden. So I guess I wouldn't be walking inside right now anyways, because I got to show you some of the things we did. The garden looks so naked. We went ahead and pulled out all of those tomatoes. They were getting really sick, and it just wasn't going to be much longer, no matter how we looked at it. So we went ahead and pulled those out to make room for some of the fall crops that I need to get in the ground. I actually should have probably done that earlier this week, but you know, my philosophy around here is we will do what we can do in the time that we do have, and that's that. There's no sense in worrying about the things we didn't get to in time or that we should have done sooner. We are just enjoying every second of this space. Oh, I caught a asparagus. We're just enjoying every second of this space this year and getting a lot of food out of it and being thankful for that versus trying to, you know, I don't know, just stress ourselves out with everything we could have done better. We are learning from the things that we're doing, but by no means are we stressing over the tomatoes that we had to pull. I think that looking at this space and being in this garden this year, it has been transformative for us. We have changed the way that we think about gardening. We've changed our goals as a family. We have reset our dreams and expectations into what we want this space to be next year and in future years. And ultimately, it's just been a really great, beautiful season for us here on our farm. And it's especially cool because it's our first season here on the farm. And we're stepping into a time where it's just going to be magnified in us just being immersed in this place. And the learnings that we're taking from this season, we're going to be able to directly apply into our, not just our fall garden, but into our garden next year, and even in the way that we continue to develop this space. So I don't regret a thing, and hopefully that's how you look at your gardening season. No matter how big or little your gardening space was, whether you started in the middle of the season or you were bright and early in February sowing seeds in your basement like I was, or up in my media room. But no matter how you look at it, hopefully you've taken the opportunity during this harvest season to look back and reflect on all of the things that you learned this season and taking into account things you want to do differently, things you want to do the same, things you want to scale, things you want to scale back. there's no right or wrong here. Just because you do something one way one year doesn't mean you're married to it. You don't have to stick with it. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to make a different decision next year. You're allowed to change everything about the way that you garden. And I think that's what's so beautiful about exploring this lifestyle, is that you get to be so intimately connected with not only your food, but with nature and how things work and how plants grow and how animals survive. And it causes me to evolve as a person, and it causes me to grow as a person and to expand my perception of what I think is right or wrong, or, you know, the way that I think things should work. I hope I'm always in a position to be learning and to be growing, and hopefully watching us on this journey and watching us make mistakes and watching us do things that are successful. Hopefully that encourages you to try and to do new things yourself, and lets you embrace some grace for yourself too, because it has by no means been a perfect season for us. We have had our fair share of failures and setbacks and disappointments, but with each of those, there's so much mercy and there's so much to learn. So friends, thank you. Thank you for joining me in this space. Thank you for walking the farm with me on this quiet, beautiful evening. You always have a place here. Until next time.